Good evening. I'd like to call the East Lyme Board of Finance regular meeting of Wednesday, May 13th to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. I'd like to move to delegations. Is there anyone from the audience that would like to speak to the board? Going twice. Is there anyone that would like to get up and speak for a third and final time? We'll go to approval of the minutes. By the looks of it, we've been quite busy for the last month. So,
Karen's been quite busy.
right, typing. So the approval of the special meeting, March 30th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Here a second.
Second.
Any discussion on that motion? Everybody have a chance to review the minutes?
Yes.
Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. The regular meeting of April 8th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion on the motion? Corrections? Additions? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Special meeting of April 13th, 2015. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Second.
Any discussion? Additions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions.
Abstain.
Motion carries 4-0. 402. Public hearing, April 20th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Additions, corrections? Hearing none. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 6-0. Special meeting, April 20th, 2015.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Additions, corrections? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 6-0. We'll move to reports. Good evening, Mr. First Selectman.
Good evening, Mr. Chair. I can give you a brief update what's going on in town. You may have read the paper today. Big article in front of the paper. The USS Pittsburgh came home after a 6-month deployment. And if you've ever been on the pier when one of those 6-month deployments come home, man, I've been brought to tears many times to see the families reunited. But on the other side of the front page of the paper was an article about the Oswegatchie land swap. It's a memorandum of understanding, which just means it's one step in a different direction. It doesn't mean we've come up with a deal. It means we'll work together to possibly come up with a deal. The idea came from many conversations with Mr. Formica and Mr. Russo, the managing partner of Landmark Investments. Over many times, many coffees, just how can we come up, what can we do kind of thing, other than cutting a check for $30 million. And this is what the conclusion was, is maybe we can find some federal property that is going back into the private sector. Government does this a lot. Maybe we can find state land that's going back to the private sector. One example that was in the paper the other day, the UConn campus in West Hartford is going to be abandoned by the state and is going to go be sold to the private sector. Well, we've had many federal and state elected officials pledge to do everything they could to try to save Oswegatchie Hills. Mr. Blumenthal's come to this town many times to testify and to support the Friends of Oswegatchie Hills. Mr. Courtney, the same. Mr. Malloy, the same. So, and of course, Mr. Formica is up there as well, Senator Formica. So they'll work together, and they've pledged recently to work together to see if we can come up with something. There's many
Moving parts.
Thank you. That's exactly what I wanted to say. Many moving parts. It all has to come together. Finding an appropriate land for a land swap of 236 acres is a tall order. But this gentleman says, boy, if I can find the right spot, I'd be willing to sit and talk about it. So it might mean there'll be money involved as well. More than likely there will be. Generally, the government doesn't give it away, but they could deep discount it. And they could also help us with some grant money. So, we had received a $2 million grant several years ago. I think our elected officials, again, Senator Formica and Representative Jutila, have been working to save that money from being swept because our state government is doing a lot of sweeping of accounts and unused grants. But we have like 1 point in the Oswegatchie grant is 1.9, we've used some of it for other land in Oswegatchie. But we have a significant amount of that $2 million grant available, as well as we have a lot of outside interests that would be involved in this. So it signifies a step that maybe there's another solution than building the currently proposed 800 units, and that public hearing begins next Thursday, the 21st. The Zoning Commission will start hearing the current application that was remanded back from the appeals court back to the state. And this is an application from, I believe, 10 years ago, 2005, that got appealed, that went back and forth a few times. It's still alive. This is when I was on zoning. So that's still going on, and we can't lose our focus. We need to be vigilant in our I don't want to say defense, because that's not what the zoning commission does, but they listen to the case and they make a decision on it, and we need to be focused on that. In the same token, we might be able to deal in a partnership, be on the same team with this developer. That's a bigger. I can answer questions on
Can I
that
ask some questions on that?
before I move on.
Go ahead, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking at, I haven't read it, of course, but, I think it's very creative. So you have parallel tracks, of course, of the application and
Yeah.
this other alternative. But was that also part of the court decision to come up with something creative as suggested by the judge, maybe?
No.
Okay.
This doesn't come from the remand. This is just, again, Formica and Russo working together over the
That's
years.
good. Here's some ideas.
Mm-hmm.
He's in the city of Middletown and he's done a lot of work there. The CVH property which is being used by the state of Connecticut, but not all of it, and it is part of a riverfront development plan of development. That's an option. There's a building Etna, which is also in Middletown, that's vacant. You have the West Hartford, and there's some other places that would be ideal for affordable housing. I can send you those. Also, I wouldn't hesitate to look at the stupid Norwich Hospital property because I don't
Right.
think it's all one developer.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm thinking if it's a state-owned property, so it might require legislative action because he's going to be then transferred to be the preferred developer as well as the owner, right? I don't know how that works.
I'm not the lawyer, but no, we're just looking to transfer development rights from this to that, and the Trust for Public Land has said they would help, and the folks that helped us with the Darrow Pond purchase, that they would step in as mediators. Thank you. That they would take the land and then give it. But there's many options, and to be truthful, I think Mr. Russo has already got his eyes on a few spots.
Yeah, I was saying
Sure,
just
you know.
calling Mayor Drew Drew in Middletown, just to
Okay.
talk about that development, since he does a lot of work down there, and for what he wants to do, it's perfect for a transit-oriented development concept, and there's a lot of
Yeah.
pieces, so
Thank you.
that's really great, Mark.
Yeah, and I know he has his finger on the pulse.
Great job for Paul and
I-
also for you.
No kidding. The state and feds have this list that, they're always feeding properties into it that they're looking to liquidate.
Well, they'll probably facilitate it
Yeah.
for a different term and involve some 501c3, because somewhere there's going to be tax deductions potentially.
Huge tax deductions. That's part of
Yeah,
it.
oh, that's part of it,
Attraction.
that's right,
So,
yeah.
somewhere there, I believe there'll be a facilitator or middle entity that allows them to,
To make that happen.
yeah.
Two questions.
Yeah.
That's good.
So,
First one was, can you borrow my mic?
yeah, that was the first. So I briefly read the article in the paper. This land does not have to be located in Connecticut.
Correct.
So I'm kind of wondering if this is an affordable housing plan, we wouldn't get credit then for meeting our
That's
affordable
true.
housing quotas.
That's true.
So why would we be motivated to move it out of state? It sounds like I know we're already below our required amount. So it sounds like we really
Well,
ought to try to keep it in state.
I
Am
think
off base there?
99% of the towns in Connecticut are below their number,
They
which
are.
was a number grabbed by someone somewhere
It's
and said
10%.
10%. Right.
Yeah.
So we've done a good job over the years, actually, to increase our affordable housing stock. And we have a lot of affordable housing that doesn't meet the clear definition of, we have a lot of property in town that would meet it, but doesn't because it's not in the program. However that works.
That's-
But to go beyond
gotta
this,
be changed.
Mr. Russo isn't necessarily looking for another place to build affordable housing.
Right.
He could build a 15-story high-rise in downtown Stamford. It could be an office building / retail / residential / condos. It could be anything.
It's gonna be what's
Um,
business
you know,
worthy for him.
The affordable housing card was played here because of the nature of the property and the nature of its relationship with the town. So
Okay, so
he's just looking to go out and put a shovel in the ground somewhere and put a good big project together.
all right. So my second question, without getting too far down the zoning pike, will this property that he wants to build on here, will it support the infrastructure that is?
I don't think you can.
It's a tough call for me to make. He has an 800 unit affordable housing complex that's all right on top of the hill, and he hasn't even said what he's going to do to the bottom, to the slope in the river
And
front.
that's something for zoning to decide.
It is, there is possible water access, public water access. He is also, we have an appeal in court regarding the sewer capacity for that land. Because
Okay,
it
so I
is in
guess
the
that's
sewer shed.
subjective.
There's a lot of play going
Lots of
on
different
here, a lot of moving parts.
All right.
And because judges and lawsuits are involved, it's probably not appropriate that I opine.
I wouldn't with a
Come
pending
up with these big
application.
words tonight, huh? Some other items. Gateway is open since the last time we all sat down. Some people live up there now. 3 buildings have their certificate of occupancy out of the 10 apartment buildings. Building is going on up there. The water problem that was up there that you remember happened, there was a kind of a meltdown of their water system, was fixed, was overlooked by an independent third party to make sure the engineering was done correctly, and that when the town, right now we have not taken control of the water system, or we have, but we did it whatever we had to do legally because we are the water company. But should anything go wrong tomorrow, we're still not responsible for the fix. Let's put it that way. So it's still in that phase. But people are living up there now, and they're aggressively putting that together. Apartments are being marketed, and we're getting people not just from East Lyme, about 10% from East Lyme that might be downsizing, moving there, but a lot from all over to these luxury apartments, and then commuting back out of town. And that is the demographic so far, is higher executives and higher executive couples coming in. So far. May 21st, that's a week from tomorrow, is our referendum. Got to get the word out that we have a budget referendum every year. And it is next Thursday, 8 to 8 at the community center. All 3 voting districts will be at the community center, not the high school. So we really want to get the word out there and do your part, send your emails and your Facebook posts and all that. We got to get people out to vote. Lastly, just an update downtown. Still aiming for the boardwalk for October 3rd. We're hoping that it will be finished on October 3rd and that we have a townwide celebration. Yep, that's where it's at. The hole in the wall, I've explained this a couple times and try to be clear about this. All the beaches in town will be open all summer long, all 7 days, unless it's raining. The hole in the wall, the pass-through underneath the railroad tracks, will be closed Monday through Friday. The beach will be open. The access point will be from McCook's, the upper parking lot of McCook's. You walk down to hole in the wall should you want to access that beach. McCook's will be open and Cheney Park will be open. We'll open up the hole in the wall during the weekend, so access from their parking lot and from downtown and from Gumdrops and Lollipops and all the restaurants downtown, you can walk to the beach Saturdays and Sundays and holiday weekends. Okay?
What
So-
caused the delay from August to October?
Winter.
Just delay.
Weather conditions, I'm sure.
Weather conditions over the winter. As I came in here and told you August, we were in midwinter. When I first sat here, it was January. It said August. That's where we're at. And there's no rushing this program at all. There's just no way to do it. It's a very slow, deliberate process, one thing at a time on this thing. And it's very complicated in the construction. When they're pouring the cement, they have to create forms for the cement to sit in, and each block has to be done separately. I've seen the schematics on how they're doing it. It's very complicated. They're doing it, and they're doing it right. That's where we're at on that.
Mark, why is the hole in the wall going to be closed Monday through Friday? Is that a staffing issue from the Parks and Rec?
No, it's a construction issue. We're staging all the material and trucks for the boardwalk, including, let's say we're pouring the sidewalk and it's cement. The cement truck has to come down from McCook's. It has to pass down this new road we built from McCook's down on the edge of the hole on the beach, the back of the beach, and across to the boardwalk. We can't have people crossing. We can't have kids and all that stuff. So we'll be fencing the beach off, and it's just way too dangerous. And there'll be a flurry of activity down there this summer during Monday through Friday. If there's a slow day, if they're not working, they'll keep it open. But, again, 3-day weekends especially.
Will there be a savings in staff from not having that open?
We're going to transfer staff to Cheney Park. There is a little bit, and I think that's where we had cut the Parks and Rec department. That's I think we kind of done